students, so we'll continue with the topic atoms and molecules, and here already we have known about what is an atom, what is a molecule, and how you are going to differentiate an element and a compound. In this video we will see or learn more about how you can differentiate with respect to the ions, and we will learn more about ions, valencies, and how you will form a chemical formula with respect to the equations and also the elements. So we will move on with the topic now. So what are ions? Ions are those which have net charge. It can be positive or negative. So we already know that what are atoms made up of? They are made up of inside nucleus. Nucleus consists of the protons and the neutrons, and you have the external electrons. So how these electrons move? They keep on moving, and these charges are based on the electrons. Either it can be positive or negative. So let's understand again what are ions. So ions are atoms, or they are a group of atoms which have a net charge on them. So net charge is the total charge with respect to an atom. It can be either positive or negative, and it can also have certain numbers. So here you can see certain examples. Sodium is positive, chlorine is negative. So why sodium is given as positive? So sodium is a metal. So always what happens is they are the donator, or they share their electrons with the non-metals. So you can see that when we give to others, we are positive in nature, hence sodium is positive. So chlorine, it's a non-metal and it comes under a halogen. They are formed preparation of salts. So you can see that negative is because they take or grab the electrons from the metals. So here you can see in this picture, so this is a neutral atom. There is net charge in it. It can be either positive or negative. So here you can see that they are differentiated into two different ions based on their charges. So what is cation? Cation is positively charged. So positively charged, as I told, it is they give their electrons, and you can see anion, they are negatively charged ions or particles. They take electrons from the metals. So let's classify the ions. As I told, ions can be classified into anions and cations. So here cations are positively charged, anions are negatively charged. So here let's understand cation once again. So ions containing positive charge, if they have positive charge, they are known as cations. So examples are purely metals. When you go and see or go through the periodic table, if you see the metals groups, though they are positive in nature, that is later on you will understand that why they are called positive, because they share their electrons. So it is sodium, it's plus, that is they are positive. K is for potassium, it is positive. Mg2 plus. So this number represents the valency of the particular atom. So we can see in the later of this particular video. So next comes the anions. So what are anions? I have already told they are negative in nature. So these are non-metals. They take the electrons from the other metals. So now you will be having certain questions why these atoms need to take or elements need to take electrons from the metals. So later on we will understand that when we understand the valencies. So here ions containing negative charge are called anion. So for example, you can see that bromine, fluorine, oxygen, all these are non-metals. They are negatively charged. So we'll go to the next slide. So based on the numbers of the ions present in that particular element or an atom, we will differentiate again the ions as monoatomic ions and polyatomic ions. So what are monoatomic ions? Like hydrogen, helium, oxygen. So single atom, they have a net charge is known as the monoatomic ions. Let's understand it again. Ions containing only one atom. So they contain only one atom and they are said to be monoatomic. So one atom, as example I told, it is sodium. Sodium is a metal. It is only having one atom. It's a one atom. So you can see potassium is a single atom. Bromine is a single atom. So you can see that when there is a combination like sodium chloride, Na and Cl, that is chlorine, together combined, they will become polyatomic ions. When one or more atoms combine together with their respective charges, they form the polyatomic ions. So let's understand again what is polyatomic ions. Ions containing more than one atom. As I told, they contain more than one atom. They are called as polyatomic ions. So for example, that is carbon dioxide. So CO3 2 minus. So nitrogen dioxide and etc. Even you can take water H2O. So all these are polyatomic ions. So you might have more examples when you understand with respect to the periodic table. So you can combine with different metals and non-metals. When they combine together, they form polyatomic ions. They can be positive and negative charges with them. So now, as I told before, we need to understand valency to know more about the ions. So what is the valency? It is combining capacity of an element. So combining capacity of an element like water. So you can see H2O. So when you go to the periodic table, you might be astonished to know that why hydrogen is becoming 2 and oxygen 1 when your atomic number of hydrogen is only 1 and atomic number of oxygen is 8. So for that you need to understand the shells of an atom. So an atom contains K shell, L shell, M shell, and you can see that K, L, M and N, you can see 4 different shells. So first shell of any atom will have 2 electrons in it. So for example, let's consider oxygen as an example. Atomic number is 8. So first shell, you have put 2 electrons in it. Now how much is remaining? Remaining is 6. So next shell onwards, that is second shell, third shell, that is L shell, M shell onwards, you need to have 8 electrons to complete octet configuration. That is, the particular atom should become stable. It requires totally 8 electrons. So how much is remaining now? It is 6 with the oxygen. So next shell, that is L shell, you will be adding only 6 electrons there. So now how much is remaining? 2 is remaining. So I can say that 6, when you can see that 6 requires 2 more electrons. So you can say that it is going to take 2 electrons from a metal or any other element to complete its octet. So how much is remaining? So just minus that number with the octet, that is 8 minus 6 is 2. So how much is remaining now to formation of octet? It is 2. Yeah, yes, then you can see that hydrogen is 1 as it is oxygen valency is 2. So now we are going to cross multiply hydrogen with oxygen's valency. So oxygen valency of 2 will come to hydrogen, that will become H2, and 1 valency of hydrogen will go to O, that is oxygen. That is how you got the formula as H2O. So let's understand more. The outermost shell of any element is called a valence shell. So outermost shell, as I told, K, L, M and N shell. So K shell will always have 2 electrons. So without forgetting, whatever you have the element, you need to fill that particular K shell with 2 electrons. Then you should go on adding the electrons with the outer shell. And outermost shell, how much ever electrons is remaining, that is known as valence shell. And the number of electrons present in that shell will determine your valency for that particular element. So let's see here. You can see in the periodic table, always you should have a periodic table when you are learning about atoms and molecules with respect to the chemical formula. So we can see here that helium as atomic number 2. So as I told, 2 always goes with the first shell. So here protons, neutrons and electrons, you can see that 2 protons and 2 neutrons and electrons. So how much is helium's valence electrons is 2, because first shell itself it is 2 and your valence electron is 2. So let's know now carbon. So what is the atomic number of carbon? So carbon is 6. So you can see that in the nucleus it has 6 protons and 6 neutrons. So as I told, the first shell always you should write or you should place first 2 electrons. So you have placed first 2 electrons in the first, that is first shell, that is inner shell. How much is remaining now? Remaining is 4. So your 4 carbon electrons remaining are placed in the last shell and it becomes 4 valence electrons. So in the same way, sodium. So sodium's atomic number is 11. So imagine that now you need to draw this configuration, that is electronic configuration. This is called as the electronic configuration. How will you represent it? It will be like innermost shell 2 you will write, then you will put a comma, then outermost shell how much is there? Comma 4. So you will have electronic configuration as 2, 4 for carbon. So you can see here for sodium it is 11. So as I told, the first shell you will place the 2 electrons. So how much is remaining? Now you can see how much is remaining. 11 minus 2 is 9. So you can see that next 9 is there. So next shell, octet will be filled, that is 8 electrons can be completed. So you will place your second most shell, L shell with 8 electrons. How much is remaining now? 2 plus 8. 10 is over. Then what is remaining is 1 electron that you will place in the next shell, that is the third shell, that is L, K, L and M shell. M shell you will place only 1 electron, and you can see here that it's very difficult now outside, that is the outside electron is the valence electron and your valency will be 1. Why it is 1? Because it cannot take 7 electrons from other metals or atoms, because 7 is very much tough for gaining than it is easier to give 1 electron from this sodium. So you can see that its sodium is a metal. As I told, always metals will give off their electrons and non-metals will take the electrons. So here again we can see that metals are said to be electropositive. As I told before, why they are called electropositive? Because they are ready to give their electrons, because they have the tendency to donate electrons. So for example, sodium has valency of 1. So as I told, it is plus 1. For metals it is always plus. So the 1 valency you will put here plus and 1. Calcium has valency of plus 2. So outermost shell, calcium has 2 valency or 2 electrons. So this is easier to be given to the other non-metals. So non-metals are said to be electronegative elements. Why they are called electronegative? As I told, negativity means it's going to gain electrons from the metals. So they accept the electrons from the metals which are electropositive in nature. So for example, chlorine has a valency of minus 1. Oxygen has a valency of minus 2. So we can also see here that these are also certain elements that possess more than one valency. There are certain elements that possess more than one valency. So let's understand with an example here. Iron shows two types of valencies. How can iron show two types of valency? Let's see that. Fe plus 2. So iron is a metal, so it is having plus 2 as the valency, which is popularly known as, iron is popularly known as ferrous. And another is Fe plus 3. So Fe plus 3 is having the valence electron, the outermost electron as 3, and it is plus because it is a cation, and it is going to give its electrons, and it is electropositive in nature. So which is also known as ferric. So here we can see that ferrous has 2 valence electron, ferric has 3 valence electrons. So we can take another example with respect to copper. So copper has a symbol Cu. So it also shows valency of 1. For valency of 1 showing copper is known as cuprous, and valency of 2 is known as cupric. Let's know about the classification of ions with respect to their valency. I had told the valency of atoms or an element can be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But we can see that 1 to 4 only valencies are present. Don't get confused. So 0 to 4. So which has 0 as the valency is known as noble gases or noble metals or noble elements. So again next is 1 valent, 2 valent, 3 valent and 4 valence. So more than 4 there are no other valency of electrons present. You can try out with your periodic table. Any of the first 20 elements you can take and draw the electronic configuration as I have shown here. So let's understand with respect to the monovalent ions. So monovalent ions will have only one electron in its outermost shell, and it will have valency as 1. So let's again take the example of sodium. It is electronic configuration is 2, 8, 1. So 2, as I had told that first shell will have 2 electrons. Next you need to see that whether it will cover with 8, that is octet or not. So sodium has 8 electrons. The second shell will fill with 8 electrons, and third shell is 1. So your valency is 1. So we can see that ions having the valency of 1 are said to be monovalent, that is valency is 1. So example is hydroxide, nitrogen dioxide. So you can see more examples like this, and you can even practice by taking a single element or single atom or any metals or non-metals and try out by using the periodic table. So divalent, as the name suggests, you will have that outermost shell or the valence shell will have 2 electrons in it. So ions having the valency of 2 is said to be divalent. So you can see that sulfur dioxide, sulfur trioxide, carbon monoxide. So you can see that you can see here that all these have divalent ions. So again the name as suggests, it is trivalent ions. Trivalent ions is like 3 valence electrons in the outermost shell. So ions having valency of 3 are said to be trivalent. So you can see that nitrogen 3, and you can see that many other elements will have 3 outside electrons, and again you can practice by using a periodic table and see the electronic configuration where it can be like 2, 8, 3. So search the elements in such a way that you can see that certain elements will have, you need to minus, see you can see that outer element will be 5. So outermost shell is 5. You cannot write the valency as 5 there. You need to minus by the octet, that is 8 minus 5. And again if you have the outermost shell as 6, you cannot write valency as 6. So you need to again minus 8 minus 6, how much ever is remaining, that is your valency. Again the same way, if 7 is there, so 8 minus 7, how much is coming? Again it is monovalent, divalent, trivalent. So you can see that. So again 8 minus 8, if it comes, it is a noble gas, your valency is 0.